Hello folks, thank you for joining me. I'm just here in the studio and I'm just doing some banding. So why don't you join me, we'll talk about it. Banding? What's that, Simon? Must be something musical about joining a band. Wow. Okay, so what I've got here is I use these are Japanese brushes. You can use other kinds of brushes. I like these kind of brushes because they've got a rather nice springy springiness to them, you know what I mean? So why do we band pots? First of all, what is banding? Well, banding is basically, if you see these mugs here, it's the putting on of these lines around a pot, which can add a nice feature to a pot from a decorative point of view. Right now, at this moment, I'm in the middle of doing these GP bowls, and simply placing, as you can see, a couple of lines there at the top. So what I'm doing is I'm using here some pigment. This is a cobalt pigment that I'm using, which is not just cobalt on its own, because if you use cobalt just on its own, it's very powerful and it's incredibly intensely blue, and it's really too blue for what I like. I prefer a quieter blue. So what we have to do is tone it down, the blue, so it's not quite so violent, you know. So in order to do that, I'll give you the recipe for this, which is actually one of my father's, what we used to use at Lower Down, and that's just very simply 4 ingredients, starting off with cobalt oxide 25%, red iron oxide 25%, manganese dioxide 25%, and dry crushed porcelain clay body 25%. So those are the 4 ingredients, and you want to weigh them, dry weight, weigh them, put them together, and blend them together, and then put them through a 100 mesh sieve, a 100 mesh screen. Okay? And when you've done that, finally at the very end, you'll end up with these little. This is dried up now. Yeah. Okay, so that's that. Let's just talk a little bit about how we do it. You are going to need one of these, a banding wheel. If you haven't got a banding wheel, you ought to get one. So let's bring the camera down here. We'll do a few. Let's see. I'll bring a couple of more. La 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 la. So let's just try and zoom in a bit there on that. Something like that. Okay. Let's see, let's move these along a bit. So these GP bowls are unglazed, you see, on the outside. All they have is a glaze on the inside, and I just put a couple of lines there. On the outside I put sprayed wood ash from my fireplace. So what we want to do is centralize the GP bowl. So I'm just going to add a little water here to this. So what you want to do is get a little brew going here on this tile. This is just a ceramic tile, you see. You don't want to have it too watery, and you don't want to have it too thick. Otherwise it gets kind of like dry on the end of the brush. Because you've got to bear in mind, you see, when you touch your brush on here, the absorbent glaze and fired bisque clay that is here is very, very absorbent. It sucks the moisture out of the brush. So you want to have enough on the brush so that when you touch it, it's enough to at least keep you going all the way around, you see. Alright, let's go. So what you want to do is, I spin it from underneath here. This particular banding wheel, you see it's got this, it's got that little bit there, which enables me to spin it very nicely. So tap center, get in there, hold the brush and rest against something, and hold these brushes not like this. You want to hold them further towards the end. So it's 2 lines, so there's one, load the brush again, there's another. One, two. Let's see if we can come even closer. Like that. How about that? Load the brush. Oh. Tap center. That's one thing you cannot do with this, and that is you can't do it if it's not on center. So hold the brush. Hang on. I want to get this so you can see. One line. Two line. There it is. We'll pull back again. Oops. Back. There it is. A couple more to do on this board here. I've got about 3 boards of these. So tap center. Stay. You don't want to hold the brush too rigid, because the more rigid you are, the more nervous you are. You need to relax a bit to do this. One word here about, another thing that's important I should mention, and that is I know you saw me adding water to the pigment here. Well, of course you've got to add water to it because I've got it, it's dry here, you see. So I have to add water. You don't want to water it down so much though that it becomes weak. So you have to, there's a little bit of a learning curve there. You've got to sort of get to know what that strength is, you see. And that's the same with any decorating like this, whether you're using cobalt blue like I'm doing, or you're using the iron oxide as well. You don't want to have it so it's watery. Yeah. This one doesn't seem to be that round, does it? So you see what this does, it's a visual thing, I think. It gives it finishes off this area of the pot, you see, is it catches your eye, this top bit, the lip of a pot. That's why I like putting rolled rims on, because a rolled rim, it finishes off the top of a pot. And not only does it finishes it, it gives it strength just where it's needed, because this is just the point where it will chip or get cracked or hit, knocked, is right there on that rim. So having the rolled rim there is actually a very good thing. But not only is it good from a practical point of view, it's also good from a visual point of view. It finishes off the top of the pot. And this is another thing, adding these banded lines, it just adds something to the top of the pot. So these now, what's left to be done with these are to be, the next thing I'll do with these is put them together, you see, like that. Again, another practical reason for having a rolled rim is that these are going to fire in the kiln, sitting like that, face to face, and it gives a good location point for the one above to sit on the lower one when you've got that slightly more generous rim. Another thing that it does, of course, it helps when making them, when throwing them, it keeps the top round, stops it going out of shape, you see. So there's a lot of reasons I put these, do these rolled rims. Okay folks, well that's just a quick little video there, just on banding and a few thoughts about pigments, brushes, application, banding wheels, how to do it and why we do it. I hope that's helpful to somebody out there, and please write to me, visit my website simonleachpottery.com, and yeah, above all, as with all of these hand skills that we learn, whether it's pottery, whatever it is, it might be music, it might be painting, the secret is to keep practicing. That is it in a nutshell. Keep practicing. Keep practicing good habits, I think, yeah. Okay folks, I'll see you soon. Thanks for joining me. And very soon now I've got to be, spraying these up with wood ash, decorating. I've got mugs to decorate here, pictures over there to glaze, and we're going to be doing those in the next upcoming clip. So stay tuned. Bye bye now.